If I told you that one of the most powerful things you could do for your skin wasn't in a jar, wasn't injected, and didn't cost $80 a month, but was sitting in your refrigerator right now, unnoticed, underestimated, would you believe me? For years, women have been told that firmer, healthier-looking skin comes from a bottle. Collagen powders, collagen creams, collagen everything. And the supplement industry has made billions selling that story. But here's what almost nobody explains. Your body doesn't just need collagen handed to it. It needs the raw materials and the right internal environment to build and preserve its own. And there's a humble, unglamorous vegetable that does exactly that in ways most collagen supplements can't. Today, I want to show you what that vegetable is, why the science behind it is more convincing than most people realize, and why it might be doing more for you over time than the supplement sitting in your cabinet. Most people picture collagen as something you either have enough of or don't, a substance you can simply replenish by eating more of it, the same way you'd refill a tank of gas. That mental model is exactly what makes the collagen supplement industry so persuasive, and it's also precisely why it misses the most important part of the story. Collagen isn't something your body passively stores and depletes. It's something your body actively manufactures, continuously, through a biochemical process. And that process has a hard dependency that no amount of collagen powder can bypass: vitamin C. To understand why, you have to look at what collagen actually is at a molecular level. Collagen is a protein, but it's not a simple one. It's built from long chains of amino acids, primarily glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, twisted together into a distinctive triple helix structure that gives collagen its characteristic strength and elasticity. That structure is what makes collagen so essential to skin, tendons, blood vessels, and connective tissue throughout the body. But here's the critical detail. Proline and lysine, two of the amino acids involved in building that helix, have to be converted into hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine before the collagen molecule can fold correctly and become stable. That conversion process is called hydroxylation, and it cannot happen without enzymes called prolyl hydroxylase and lysyl hydroxylase S, enzymes that require vitamin C as a cofactor to function at all. This is not a minor supporting role. Without adequate vitamin C, those hydroxylation enzymes simply stop working properly, and the collagen molecules that do get assembled are structurally unstable. They can't form the tight triple helix that gives collagen its strength, and the body recognizes this malformed collagen as defective, breaking it down almost as quickly as it's made. This is precisely what happens in scurvy, the disease historically associated with vitamin C deficiency among sailors on long voyages, and scurvy's hallmark symptoms, including bleeding gums, poor wound healing, and skin that becomes fragile and prone to bruising, are essentially a direct, visible demonstration of what happens when collagen synthesis breaks down at the vitamin C step. It's one of the clearest, most well-documented examples in all of nutritional science of a single micronutrient controlling the fate of an entire structural protein. This is where the gap in the collagen supplement narrative becomes obvious. Taking in collagen, whether from bone broth, collagen peptide powders, or any other source, doesn't automatically translate into more collagen in your skin. When you consume collagen, your digestive system breaks it down into its individual amino acids and small peptide fragments, the same way it breaks down any other dietary protein. Those amino acids then enter your bloodstream as raw material, available for your body to use if and when it decides to build new collagen. But whether your body actually uses that material to synthesize new, structurally sound collagen still depends entirely on whether the hydroxylation machinery has enough vitamin C to do its job. Flooding the body with amino acid raw material while leaving the vitamin C-dependent construction process undersupported is a bit like delivering truckloads of bricks to a construction site that doesn't have enough workers to lay them. This is precisely why vitamin C intake matters so directly for anyone thinking about collagen, skin structure, or connective tissue health, and why it deserves far more attention than it typically receives in conversations dominated by collagen supplement marketing. Adequate vitamin C isn't a nice-to-have alongside collagen intake. It's the rate-limiting step that determines whether any collagen synthesis from any source actually succeeds. Someone consuming collagen supplements daily while maintaining low vitamin C intake is, in a very real biochemical sense, working against their own goal. Meanwhile, someone prioritizing vitamin C-rich foods, even without supplementing collagen directly, is supporting the exact enzymatic process that determines how well their body builds and maintains its own collagen naturally. This distinction reframes the entire conversation about skin health and aging. The question isn't simply how much collagen am I consuming, but does my body have what it needs to actually use that collagen or to synthesize its own? Vitamin C requirements for basic health are relatively modest, but the amount needed to optimally support ongoing collagen synthesis, tissue repair, and skin maintenance over years and decades is a different consideration entirely, particularly as natural collagen production gradually slows with age. This is part of why nutritional scientists studying skin aging increasingly emphasize dietary patterns and specific micronutrient sufficiency rather than isolated protein supplementation as the more meaningful lever, because without the vitamin C to drive hydroxylation, the raw materials for collagen, however abundant, simply can't be assembled into anything the body can actually use. Ask most people to name a vitamin C food, and the answer comes back almost instantly: oranges. Citrus fruit has become so thoroughly associated with vitamin C in the popular imagination that it's essentially synonymous with the nutrient itself. This association isn't wrong exactly, but it's incomplete in a way that causes a lot of people to overlook a far more concentrated, far more versatile source sitting quietly in the produce aisle: the bell pepper. Gram for gram, red bell peppers contain notably more vitamin C than oranges. This isn't a marginal difference or a matter of splitting hairs between similar values. It's a meaningfully larger amount, to the point that a single red bell pepper can provide well over a day's worth of vitamin C in one serving, often exceeding what you'd get from an equivalent amount of orange. Green bell peppers, while somewhat lower in vitamin C than their red counterparts, still contain a substantial amount, comparable to or exceeding many citrus fruits. The difference between red and green peppers comes down to ripeness. Red peppers are simply riper green peppers left longer on the vine, and that additional ripening time allows vitamin C content, along with other nutrients like beta-carotene, to increase substantially. Part of why this fact surprises people is that vitamin C content doesn't track intuitively with how acidic or citrusy a food tastes. Citrus fruits taste like vitamin C because their sourness is chemically associated in most people's minds with the nutrient, but vitamin C itself has no inherent sour taste. The sourness of citrus comes from citric acid, an entirely separate compound. Bell peppers, despite tasting sweet and mild rather than sharp or acidic, carry their vitamin C without any of the flavor cues people have learned to associate with it, which is a large part of why they get overlooked in the popular understanding of where vitamin C actually comes from. This matters enormously for anyone thinking about collagen synthesis and skin health, because vitamin C's role there depends on consistent, adequate intake over time, not occasional bursts from citrus consumed only when someone happens to feel a cold coming on. Bell peppers offer a practical advantage in this regard, precisely because of their versatility. They can be eaten raw, sliced into salads or alongside dips, roasted alongside other vegetables, sautéed into stir-fries, or blended into sauces, all without needing to be treated as a separate, deliberate vitamin C moment the way citrus often is. This makes them far easier to incorporate consistently into daily meals, which matters more for collagen synthesis than any single high-dose serving, since the hydroxylation enzymes involved in collagen production rely on steady vitamin C availability rather than infrequent spikes. There's also a cooking consideration that often gets overlooked. Vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin that's sensitive to heat, meaning that prolonged cooking, boiling, or high-temperature preparation can degrade a meaningful portion of a food's vitamin C content before it's ever consumed. Bell peppers hold up relatively well in this regard when eaten raw or lightly cooked, which preserves more of their vitamin C than heavily processed or long-simmered preparations. This is worth keeping in mind for anyone specifically prioritizing bell peppers as part of a collagen-supportive eating pattern, since a quick sauté or raw preparation retains substantially more of the nutrient than an hour of slow cooking would. Beyond vitamin C itself, bell peppers bring additional compounds that support skin health through complementary pathways. They contain a range of antioxidants, including carotenoids like beta-carotene and, particularly in red peppers, capsanthin, which contribute to the pepper's vivid color, and appear to offer their own protective effects against oxidative stress, a process closely tied to how skin ages over time. Oxidative stress, caused by an accumulation of unstable molecules called free radicals, can damage existing collagen fibers and interfere with the skin's ability to repair itself. Antioxidants help neutralize that damage, which means bell peppers are, in a sense, supporting skin health on two fronts simultaneously, providing the vitamin C required for building new collagen, while also helping protect the collagen that's already there from oxidative breakdown. None of this is meant to suggest that citrus fruits aren't valuable vitamin C sources. They absolutely are, and there's no reason to avoid them. But the popular fixation on citrus as the primary or only meaningful vitamin C source has left an entire category of vegetables underappreciated, despite offering equal or greater vitamin C content, along with a broader nutrient profile and far more flexibility in how they fit into daily meals. For anyone specifically thinking about long-term skin structure and collagen support, that combination of concentration, consistency, and complementary antioxidants is exactly why bell peppers deserve a far more prominent place in the conversation than they typically get. One of the most persistent misunderstandings about collagen supplements comes from a very natural, very human assumption. If you eat collagen, your body must use it as collagen. It seems logical on the surface. You consume the specific protein you're trying to increase, and your body simply incorporates it where it's needed. But this isn't how digestion works for any protein, collagen included, and understanding why reveals a lot about what collagen supplementation can and can't actually accomplish. When you eat any protein, whether it's collagen from bone broth, chicken from dinner, or lentils from a salad, your digestive system doesn't recognize or preserve that protein's original identity. The moment food enters your stomach, hydrochloric acid and the enzyme pepsin begin breaking proteins down into smaller fragments. As that partially digested material moves into the small intestine, additional enzymes released by the pancreas, trypsin, chymotrypsin, and others, continue breaking those fragments down further, eventually reducing the protein into individual amino acids and very short peptide chains, typically just 2 or 3 amino acids linked together. These small units are what actually get absorbed through the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream. The original protein, in any structurally meaningful sense, no longer exists by the time it's absorbed. This means that when someone consumes a collagen supplement, they are not delivering intact collagen molecules to their skin, joints, or connective tissue. They're delivering a mixture of amino acids, largely glycine, proline, hydroxyproline, and a few others characteristic of collagen's unusual amino acid profile, into a bloodstream that also contains amino acids from every other protein source in that person's diet. Once absorbed, the body treats these amino acids as a shared pool of raw material, available to be used for whatever protein synthesis is currently needed, wherever it's needed. There's no guarantee, and in fact no biological mechanism, by which amino acids derived from collagen are specifically routed back toward producing new collagen rather than being used to build muscle tissue, enzymes, immune proteins, or any of the thousands of other proteins the body is constantly synthesizing and repairing. This is a crucial distinction because it reframes what collagen supplementation is actually doing. It isn't directly replenishing collagen in your skin. It's providing a supply of amino acids that happen to be well suited to collagen's specific composition, which may modestly increase the availability of the particular building blocks collagen synthesis requires, particularly glycine and proline, both of which the body can also produce on its own, but which become more available with additional dietary intake. Some research has suggested this may offer a mild supportive effect, but the mechanism is fundamentally about raw material availability, not direct incorporation, and the effect size in clinical studies has generally been modest rather than dramatic. This is precisely why the vitamin C-dependent hydroxylation process matters so much, and why it's not a side note but the actual bottleneck in the entire system. Even if collagen supplementation successfully increases the pool of available glycine and proline in the bloodstream, those amino acids still have to be assembled into a properly folded, hydroxylated collagen molecule by the body's own cellular machinery, specifically by cells called fibroblasts, which are responsible for synthesizing new collagen in skin and connective tissue. And that assembly process depends entirely on whether those fibroblasts have sufficient vitamin C available to drive the hydroxylation enzymes that stabilize the resulting molecule. Supplying more raw amino acid material without ensuring that supporting infrastructure is in place is addressing only half of a two-part requirement. This also explains why whole food sources of nutrients tend to offer a more complete picture than isolated supplementation. A vegetable like a bell pepper isn't just delivering vitamin C in isolation, it's part of an eating pattern that, when consistent, supports the entire biochemical pathway collagen synthesis depends on, from providing antioxidants that protect existing collagen from degradation, to supporting general cellular health in the fibroblasts responsible for producing new collagen in the first place. Isolated collagen supplementation, by contrast, focuses narrowly on one input, amino acid supply, while leaving the equally essential vitamin C-dependent processing step entirely unaddressed unless someone is separately prioritizing vitamin C intake as well. None of this means collagen supplements are worthless, or that people shouldn't take them if they choose to. Some clinical trials have shown modest improvements in skin elasticity and hydration with consistent collagen peptide supplementation over several months, and increasing amino acid availability isn't nothing. But understanding that ingested collagen is broken down into generic building blocks rather than delivered intact reframes the more important question whether the body has everything else it needs, particularly adequate vitamin C, to actually convert that raw material into new, stable, structurally sound collagen once it arrives. Without that second half of the equation in place, additional amino acid supply alone has a ceiling on how much difference it can realistically make. There's a particular kind of disappointment that shows up in comment sections and product reviews across the internet, and it usually sounds something like this. I took collagen for 2 weeks and didn't notice any difference. That sentiment isn't a sign that collagen supplementation doesn't work. It's a sign of a fundamental misunderstanding about the timescale on which skin structure actually changes, a misunderstanding that the marketing around quick fixes has done very little to correct. Skin, like every other tissue in the body, exists in a constant state of turnover. Collagen fibers in the dermis aren't static structures installed once and left in place indefinitely. They're continuously being broken down by enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases and rebuilt by fibroblasts in an ongoing cycle of degradation and synthesis. Under normal circumstances in a younger adult, this cycle is relatively balanced, with new collagen production keeping pace with natural breakdown. As people age, that balance shifts, with breakdown gradually outpacing synthesis, which is part of why skin loses firmness and elasticity over time. This turnover process in either direction doesn't happen over minutes or even days. It happens over weeks and months, governed by the underlying biology of how collagen is synthesized, cross-linked into stable fibers, and eventually broken down again. This is precisely why any claim suggesting a dietary intervention could meaningfully change collagen structure in something like 10 minutes doesn't align with what's actually happening at a cellular level. Fibroblasts don't receive a nutrient, immediately synthesize new collagen, and integrate it into the skin's structural matrix within minutes. The hydroxylation process alone, the step during which vitamin C-dependent enzymes stabilize newly formed collagen molecules, is just one step in a longer sequence that includes the formation of procollagen, its transport out of the cell, further enzymatic processing outside the cell to form mature collagen fibrils, and eventually cross-linking those fibrils into the organized network that gives skin its structural integrity. Each of these steps takes time, and the entire sequence, from raw materials to functionally integrated collagen, unfolds over a time scale measured in weeks at the very fastest. Clinical research on nutritional interventions and skin health reflects this reality clearly. Studies examining the effects of collagen supplementation, vitamin C intake, or other dietary interventions on measurable skin outcomes like elasticity, hydration, or wrinkle depth consistently use study periods of 8 to 12 weeks at minimum, and many extend to 6 months or longer because that's the time frame over which meaningful, measurable change in skin structure actually becomes detectable. Shorter study periods generally don't show significant results, not because the interventions don't work, but because the underlying biological process simply hasn't had enough time to produce a detectable difference. This stands in stark contrast to marketing narratives built around single servings, quick fixes, or same-day results, which misrepresent not just the specific nutrient being discussed, but the basic biology of how skin renews itself. This distinction matters practically because it shapes what someone should actually expect and how they should evaluate whether a dietary change is working. Someone eating more vitamin C-rich vegetables consistently over a period of months is giving their body's collagen synthesis pathway a genuine, sustained opportunity to shift the balance between breakdown and repair in a favorable direction. Someone eating a single vitamin C-rich meal and checking their skin the next morning is evaluating the intervention on a timescale that has no biological basis for producing a visible result, regardless of how effective the underlying nutrients actually are. The disappointment that follows isn't evidence against the science, it's evidence of a mismatched expectation. This same principle extends to nearly every legitimate nutritional strategy for supporting skin health, not just vitamin C and collagen specifically. Antioxidant intake, hydration, omega-3 fatty acids, adequate protein overall, all of these contribute to skin structure and function through gradual, cumulative processes rather than acute, immediate effects. The consistent pattern across the research is that dietary quality sustained over months correlates with measurable differences in skin aging markers, while short-term or inconsistent intake generally does not, even when the specific nutrients involved are exactly the right ones for the job. This reframes the entire premise of chasing fast results through diet. The value of prioritizing something like bell peppers isn't that it produces a rapid, dramatic transformation, but that it represents a small, sustainable adjustment that, repeated consistently across weeks and months, aligns with the actual biological timescale on which collagen synthesis and skin renewal occur. This is a far less dramatic story than the one being sold by products promising visible results in minutes, but it's the version that's actually consistent with how the body works, and understanding that distinction is what allows someone to set realistic expectations, stay consistent with genuinely effective habits, and avoid the cycle of disappointment that comes from evaluating slow biological processes against impossibly short timelines. So let's return to where we started. That idea that a humble vegetable sitting in your fridge could genuinely support what your skin needs, more than a jar of collagen powder sitting untouched after 2 disappointing weeks. Here's what actually matters. Collagen synthesis depends on vitamin C. Without it, the whole process stalls no matter how much collagen you consume. Bell peppers happen to be one of the most concentrated, versatile sources of that vitamin C available, quietly outperforming the citrus fruit we've all been taught to think of first. The collagen you eat doesn't get delivered to your skin intact. It's broken down into amino acids, raw material your body may or may not actually use to build new collagen, depending on whether that vitamin C-dependent machinery is working. And none of this happens in 10 minutes or even 10 days. It happens over weeks and months through consistency, not a single serving. None of this is about dismissing collagen supplements outright or pretending there's a shortcut hiding in the produce aisle. It's about understanding what your body actually needs to do the work it's already trying to do, and giving it that consistently instead of chasing a fast result that isn't how biology actually operates. If you've been disappointed by a supplement that didn't seem to work, this might be exactly why. And if this changed how you think about something as ordinary as a bell pepper, that's worth sitting with. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of grounded, evidence-based look at what actually supports your body as it ages. And in the comments, tell me, did you know vitamin C played this big a role in collagen? Or is this the first time you're hearing it? So let's return to where we started. That idea that a humble vegetable sitting in your fridge could genuinely support what your skin needs, more than a jar of collagen powder sitting untouched after 2 disappointing weeks. Here's what actually matters. Collagen synthesis depends on vitamin C. Without it, the whole process stalls, no matter how much collagen you consume. Bell peppers happen to be one of the most concentrated, versatile sources of that vitamin C available, quietly outperforming the citrus fruit we've all been taught to think of first. The collagen you eat doesn't get delivered to your skin intact. It's broken down into amino acids, raw material your body may or may not actually use to build new collagen, depending on whether that vitamin C-dependent machinery is working. And none of this happens in 10 minutes or even 10 days. It happens over weeks and months through consistency, not a single serving. None of this is about dismissing collagen supplements outright or pretending there's a shortcut hiding in the produce aisle. It's about understanding what your body actually needs to do the work it's already trying to do, and giving it that consistently instead of chasing a fast result that isn't how biology actually operates. If you've been disappointed by a supplement that didn't seem to work, this might be exactly why. And if this changed how you think about something as ordinary as a bell pepper, that's worth sitting with. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of grounded, evidence-based look at what actually supports your body as it ages. And in the comments, tell me, did you know vitamin C played this big a role in collagen? Or is this the first time you're hearing it?